pissing out on me. There were some connectivity issues. It was just pissing the crap out of me. But perhaps we have that situation ameliorated now. Okay, we're live. Okay. So anyway, I was on one laptop. There were some connectivity issues. I put it away. I got out another laptop. Um, Good buddy of mine. He's an IT guy, and said he'd help me fix it. And I've stood him up twice. John, if you're out there, let's just do this shit tonight if we possibly can, because I'd like to, and I'll compensate you somehow. I'll buy you beer or something of that nature. Okay, and I am right now sitting on my front porch, sipping green tea. Mm. So I read an article saying that drinking a cup of green tea every night reduces a man's risk of prostate cancer. And we all want to have good prostates. As you see, I don't have either of my kids with me tonight, but I do have my little buddy here. Yes, he's he's not a real dog. He's just a stuffed animal. But I I kind of like this fella. I don't have a name for him. Perhaps you can think of a name. I just call him Puppy. There's Puppy. And anyway, I would like to briefly tell you about a dream I had last night. This dream involved television, specifically the show Happy Days. There was Richie and the Fonz in the Cunningham's living room. And then, out of nowhere, comes Robin Williams in a space suit. So, obviously, this was the episode with more from Orc. And of course, the show had long since jumped shark when this episode aired. So I don't know why I dreamed this. Um, Perhaps it was in my subconscious somehow, some way since childhood. I don't know. I have a friend who is very much into dream analysis and Jungian archetypes. And perhaps I can divulge more details of my dream to her, and she can enlighten me. Okay. Before I get around to reading the poem, I just want to say that the past week, for me, it hasn't been terrible. I mean, yeah, there's been the expected anxiety like any week, but nothing really abnormal or terrible. But I know of friends and people I know of who are having a really hard time. And I thought it best not to read some really happy, sweet poem, but again, I'm not going to read a really depressing poem. The poem I'm going to read is by a man named Theodore Roethke, and he was one of the leading poets of the 20th century. Some say the best. His confessional style had an influence on Sylvia Plath, and he wrote this poem, An Elegy for Jane, a student of his who was tragically killed in a horse riding accident. And um, Theodore Roethke, he struggled with manic depression in his life. And if you really examine this poem really closely, you can find some references, some reference to, or yeah, some connection to manic depression. And you might see why This student who maybe he didn't really know on a really close, intimate basis, he did have an affinity for, and maybe you'll see why. So let's just read the damn thing. Okay, Elegy for Jane by Theodore Roethke. I remember the neck curls, limp and damp as tendrils, and her quick look, aside pickerel smile, and how once startled into talk, the light syllables leaped, and she balanced in the depth of her thought, the delight of her thought. A wren, happy tail into the wind, her song trembling the twigs and small branches. The shade sang with her. The leaves, their whispers turned to kissing, and the mold sang in the bleached valleys under the rose. Oh, when she was sad, she cast herself down into such a pure depth. Even a father could not find her. Scraping her cheek against straw, stirring the clearest water. My sparrow, you are not here, waiting like a fern, making a spiny shadow. The sides of wet stones cannot console me, nor the moss wound with the last light. If only I could nudge you from this sleep, my maimed darling, my skittering pigeon, over this damp grave I speak the words of my love. I, with no rights in this matter, neither father nor lover. Okay, and that was Elegy for Jane by Theodore Roethke. And with that, I'm just going to just get the hell out of here. But I want to say it's always good to see you. As always, I am Jay Guy, and I just want y'all to be good to each other. Peace.